A group of boys visit a water park to celebrate graduating, unaware that a serial killer is waiting to murder them on the slides. Today, Aquaslash, we're nearing 800,000 subscribers, as you've seen. So remember that if you like the videos, you can support the channel by liking, subscribing, or turning on notifications. It's free and really helps me keep growing. Let's get started. A couple tries to have fun in the dark when the girl hears noises that scare her. Her boyfriend takes her to a higher place to calm her down before surprising her, although she was also prepared for the party. Then, a man arrives at the place while the couple is making love. But the unknown subject pulls out a machete to throw the boy aside and then throw the girl's body over him. Later, a group of students visits a water park to celebrate their vacation. So we meet Phil's bully, who takes every opportunity to mock our protagonist, Josh, a boy who doesn't mess with anyone and just, wants to enjoy the trip. However, Phil is not willing to leave him alone until Chad shows up to defend his friend. Why don't they understand how their actions affected the other boy? Just before a fight starts, class president Alice arrives with a loudspeaker to ask Phil to leave them alone while she teases him by saying he has a small one. She then asks everyone to use their vacation days to enjoy themselves, without doing anything that would ruin the experience for others, because they have worked very hard to make this trip a reality. She also thanks the protagonist's band for providing the music for the evening's big party with a bonfire at sunset. Now the students start the celebration where everyone runs to the pool to use the slides. Although Alice prefers to have fun in other ways with the park owner in her room, later the band arrives at their small stage to prepare the instruments, until Conrad appears, who has been in charge of the water park for many years. Then, the old man gets excited when they tell him they will play 80s classics instead of current music. And that brings back memories of the day the park opened because he felt very alive at that time. Despite the boys' differing opinions due to stories of murders in the park, then he tells them to have fun, but to stay alert because you never know when things might get out of control. He will be nearby in case they need anything inside the park. Meanwhile, we meet Priscilla, the park owner's wife. The other girls are told that the car wash is a tradition because every year they raise funds to send one of the students to Europe after graduation. So they all start doing their job in the sexiest way possible to attract more customers, until a guy named Tommy arrives looking for his girlfriend Kim, although the girl stops him because he also has work to do at the pool. Meanwhile, our protagonist tunes his guitar as Kim comes to greet him. They studied together, but she dropped out and now works at the park. At that moment, the girl's boyfriend, who claims to be the manager, appears and takes her away, as he doesn't want her socializing with other men. Later, two students jump onto the slides with glass bottles, not considering the consequences. But when they get to the pool, they both collide, breaking the bottle with their heads, so Kim has to go rescue them while the water turns blood red. On the other hand, Alice hangs out with the band guys when they see Priscilla walking by the beach. Phil then informs them that she is a female graduate from their school years prior, although Chad just takes the opportunity to tease him a bit and make him leave afterwards. His friend Slim tells him that the girl is very popular because she takes a student every year to take their virginity. He gathers the courage to talk to her, wanting this to be his year, although she receives a call from our protagonist's father, since he has asked her a few times to come see him play in the park. But the man will only go to see Priscilla. In a scene change, we see that the girls are pushing the fun to the limit with magic powders, until Alice receives a call from the man she was with before, because they both want to see each other again, but the accident in the pool has delayed their plans. Later, the band members ask Tommy to do a sound check, but they need his help to calibrate all the installations, so they take him with them. Although in reality, it's a way to distract him, to leave our protagonist alone with Kim. Then he jumps on her to kiss her, as they have secretly been lovers for a long time. Only that she had to leave him when she left school to go far away. But in reality, she just wants to be with him, despite being with Tommy. Now the couple goes to the bathrooms to hide from the other boy, and to be able to make love without anyone discovering it. Priscilla is having dinner with Josh's father when she receives a call, but he prefers to attend to personal matters later to enjoy the meal with the girl. When night falls, all the students prepare for the big party, while the owner talks to Alice because he misses being that age. So the only thing he can do is give everyone an unforgettable night. Later, the protagonist and his companions arrive to prepare before playing. Even though they realize what he has done with Kim, they promise not to tell anyone. Finally, they light the bonfire to start the big party. Even the protagonist's father arrives with the girl to see his son play. But things get out of control when Phyllis sends everyone a video of the boys making out. So, Tommy sees it on Kim's phone and runs to the stage to beat up Joyce until he's exhausted, making his father leave so he doesn't embarrass him in public. However, Priscilla breaks it up and fires Tommy. She also becomes very sad seeing her husband enjoying the party with Alice. Slim comforts the girl. Later, the protagonist encounters his father while with a friend. Someone tells him not to let anyone beat him up, but didn't help because they would have only taken his money too. Then he offers to buy the whole park to give it to him. But the boy doesn't need anything from him, so he asks him to leave him alone because he can't buy him. Like everyone else, Alice overhears the conversation and runs to speak with the owner. The man assures her he won't sell the park. After her persistent insistence, he kicks her out of his office as she is insignificant to him. Later, Chad takes a bath. Kim knocks on the door, searching for Josh, who arrives a while later to take the girl to a more private place. In a scene change, we see a guy cutting the slides to place knives along the way. The next day, the same guy approaches the protagonist's father. Although after threatening him with a weapon, he shoots him in the foot so he doesn't try to escape. However, the man crawls to a door where he finds the corpses of the two young people from the movie's opening scene. The man kills another person with a weapon to hide the body. Later, Tommy tries calling his girlfriend, whom he hasn't seen since the previous night. And at that moment, Conrad appears, who gets in the car to recommend him to leave the girl. He knows she doesn't love him, so the best thing would be to forget about her. On the other hand, Chad invites Alice to hang out for a while, but he seems like one of those bullies offering them some energy pills, which they both reject. Later, Conrad resumes the slides upon discovering a pool of blood on the floor, but he pretends not to notice to avoid a scandal. Meanwhile, Slim is flirting with Priscilla until her husband comes to separate them, although she doesn't care much because she's just getting back at him. Sometime later, the boys gather to sign up for a sled race. Alice, knowing the park owner is the organizer, uses this chance to accept Phil's magic powder and provoke the man with her swimwear. The protagonist arrives to be with his girl, despite the owner's warning that he won't kill Slim if he sees him again. Then Chad shows up to convince his friend to sign up with him for the competition because he can't find Slim anywhere. And at that moment, Priscilla arrives with the trophy that the race winner will take. However, Tommy also shows up because he wants to compete despite being fired. After threatening Josh, he attempts to climb the slide, but Phil intervenes as he is unwelcome. Meanwhile, the boys ask Priscilla about Slim for Sapkei.
I haven't seen him in a while, but
this time I had a great time.
Later, her husband takes her to the top of the slide to start the race, but friends convince Kim to join their team to compete together. Meanwhile, Tommy discovers a broken slide and tries to warn the others not to jump, but they ignore him due to his reputation as a psychopath. So they get to the top for the owner to welcome them, reminding them that the teams are of 3 people and only those who reach the end together will win. Now, our protagonist group is getting ready to compete against Alice's group and other students. But when the owner fires his gun to start, Tommy arrives to warn everyone about what he saw. However, everyone ignores him again, thinking he just wants attention, despite the boy saying that today marks 35 years since the park's first murders. Then the race begins, and the teams jump into the slide, enjoying the whole ride. Tommy tries to stop the next team but is pushed by Phil. In the end, the protagonist's team arrives first. Although Alice wasn't so lucky because she ran into knives on the way, causing the entire pool to start turning red before her body arrives in pieces. Now everyone runs in fear upon seeing the bodies in the pool, and a lady calls the police to tell them that the story from 35 years ago is repeating itself. Then Conrad faints at the sight of the blood, causing him to twist his ankle, while Josh tries to climb up the bloody slide to try to do something. But so much water passes that he only slips on the way. Then Tommy appears, down the same slide, but manages to stop the descent using the bodies that got trapped to survive. Priscilla persuades her husband to fill in the missing teams for an internal competition. So everyone jumps on a slide to try to get the reward, not knowing what awaits them on the way. On the other hand, Josh climbs up the outside of the slide to find the park owner himself. The man stopped halfway, sensing something was wrong. The boy tried to get him out of there, but after a while, the man prefers to let go. Priscilla's group arrives at the pool and sees the red water. This time, it's Tommy's head that goes down the other side, since he was pushed by those who jumped afterwards, along with his husband. Conrad yells at Kim to shut off the water from the slides, then goes up with Josh to stop the students from jumping. However, the girl finds all the bodies in the water storage. And on the other hand, our protagonist and the lifeguard are pushed by the other students to the slide. Although fortunately, it was for the only one that has an exit. Days later, we see that Josh is with Kim talking to his lawyer. His father left him all his money, including the water park land where he planned to build a shopping center. After accepting the money, he handed the check to Priscilla, who was also present. So we see that in reality, she was the cause of all the homicides, as revenge. Because when she was a child, her father died in the pool of the same park. But nobody helped him, so now she owns the place and can do with it as she pleases. This was Aquaslash. Don't forget to give it a like, comment on what other movies you want to see on the channel, subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos.